3, 2.
Good morning, guys. So we've got some scale tickets here. We went camping over the weekend, just kind of more of as a trial run, shake the systems down, do all that kind of stuff, see where we're at. This is obviously, I don't know how long some of you have been following along, but this was supposed to be a 2, maybe 3 week roof job. To figure out some processes. I had some designs, I had some engineering thoughts, I had some changes in insulation. Definitely wanted to put a mini split in because I was absolutely sick and tired of the air conditioning. And it's taken a little longer, just a smidge. But I'm going to break this up into some segments, but the first thing I wanted to talk about was the roof. I can't really climb up on the roof with my video guy and get a good shot of it, but I'll talk about it and tell you what's going on. So there's some products on the market right now. They're sprayed polyurea, aliphatic polyurea. You've seen me type it if you've been following along. Basically what that is it's like bed liner. It's not bed liner because bed liner is not waterproof, but it's very similar to bed liner. It's got a lot of the same properties. The biggest difference is it's 100% waterproof, it's UV stable, it's color stable. So what that means is the UV light over time, it will have an effect, but the effect is going to be 20, 30 years from now, not 2 years from now. And it's very easily repairable. If you actually get into a position where it's damaged somehow, what's going to happen is you're going to bring it back to us, or you could even bring it back to a competitor. You can go in with some 40 grit, 60 grit, and a sander and sand the area down or cut it out depending on what the area is like. Repair the underlayment, spray it back in, and you're done. This stuff bonds to itself very well. It's not like silicone or some of the other stuff. So there's a lot of benefits to it. The industry's reluctant to switch for any number of reasons, and I'm not even going to get into some of the industry stuff, but there are manufacturers paying attention. I've had some manufacturers reach out. A couple of them aren't really all that happy with me because I've called out some people, but anyway, there are better ways to do things. It's 2024. We went camping and AT&T couldn't provide us enough cell signal to actually watch TV, so appreciate that, guys. But anyway, it's 2024 and there's a lot of materials other than the old-fashioned TPOs, EPDMs. PVC is still out there. This stuff, in my opinion, I don't know, not saying I know it all, but can't come up with a single reason why you wouldn't put this polyurea on your roof. It's very, very scratch resistant. I took a couple of pictures. A lot of people liked the pictures over the weekend, but I took some pictures. We backed into our driveway. We've got some huge, huge sycamore trees. The limbs hang down. I backed the thing in. I didn't care. We've got in the driveway, there's some limbs that I've struggled with just keeping them under control because we live in a very wooded area. I didn't care. When we pulled into the campground, the drive that we were pulling back into, we got tucked back in a corner. We still got recognized. That was kind of cool. We actually had some people wave at us going down the highway. So that's another unexpected thing. I didn't expect all of this to blow up into what it has. So I guess there's some good and bad to all of it. But anyway, polyurea, it's super strong. You can't scratch it. It feels like bed liner in a lot of ways, but it's not. Doesn't need maintenance. It seals up. It sticks to lots of things. If you've got a fiberglass roof, I've actually got a Class A that we're getting ready to take a look at. The Class A is a fiberglass roof, but where the roof penetrations are, they just use old stuff and they're Dicor. And he's used some other stuff. I'm not even going to talk about that, but we're going to have to scrape it all up. He's going to fix it from the inside, but in order to waterproof it, we can go in, put a patch area in, spray it with the polyurea, and this stuff sticks incredibly well to fiberglass. The nose of the trailer is actually fiberglass on this thing, and that's what got me started down this rabbit hole. Another thing that I did when we got into the roof, I knew the roof was atrocious. It wasn't that difficult to find out, but the way that they construct the roofs on these things is ridiculous. They put the truss on, they get all the wiring jammed in, wrapped around trusses and all kinds of crazy stuff. They put this little bitty air conditioning duct. You could see that in some of my videos that we tore all that out. And that ductwork doesn't carry enough airflow, and it just starts this whole process. The roof isn't airtight. That's the reason everybody's got vents on the roof, because they're literally trying to suck air and moisture and all the stuff that's inside. They leak on purpose. We're going to run a dehumidifier in this full time now because we've sealed it up so tight, and that's fine. I would rather control my air and decide if I want the windows open, I'll open them up. But if I want the windows closed, I don't want vents sucking air. I don't want cracks or I don't want anything. I want to control my airflow. That's what this thing does. I think you saw in one of the pictures, well, I didn't, no, I'm sorry, I haven't. But I can show you now. We can actually, if we zoom over, you see that plug-ins over there on the wall? That's running the AC. I've got a dehumidifier going inside. I've got all my lights going inside. I actually fired up the microwave. I put a thing of water in the microwave and ran it for 5 minutes. So I can run the pump, the water heater's on propane, the refrigerator's on electric. The AC, it's 66 degrees in there right now and 50% humidity. I'm just drying everything out. So I can run the whole camper off of a wall outlet. And we did it, it's a long story that I don't even want to talk about, but Friday night we ended up staying home instead of leaving. And I plugged the same thing into my garage. I've got 2 deep freezers, 2 refrigerators. We keep a lot of canned goods and meats and stuff like that, but 2 deep freezers, 2 refrigerators. This camper was completely on. The water heater was on propane. The air conditioner was on. When I got up the next morning, it was 68 degrees inside, and Saturday it got up into the 90s. And I posted a picture of that. We left and came back, and it got down to 62 inside. And this mini split was barely running. It's an inverter type, so it'll speed up and slow down. I'm actually going to put a Hughes surge protector on it so I can monitor my current, because the next step in all this and getting back to the roof, the reason I wanted to do this is we do a lot of dry camping. We've got a racetrack right down the road that kind of started all of this. I want to be able to go to the campground. If I want to run my generator, run it during the day and then put a battery in that I can run overnight, but I don't want to lose air conditioning. And I watch all of these guys installing these $10, $15, $20,000 solar systems, and it's because they're trying to keep up with air conditioning. And you just read post after post after post. I've got $5,000, $10,000 worth of batteries in this big Victron dual multi-plus unit and all that, and I've got 3 rooftop units, and I still can't keep cool, and I can't keep up enough power, and I can't this and I can't that, and I don't like limitations. So this is why we changed it. The sidewalls, the mechanical stuff on the sides of the camper, that was an accident. All right, and it's the reason that it took so long. When we were working on it, we were taking the roof apart, we were up at the nose, we took the nose off because we knew we were going to tie the nose into the roof. We took the nose off. I took 2 screws off of the driver's side sidewall, and the wall fell off. That was a bad day. That was back in early July. And I knew that I wanted to do a lot of stuff to the sides, but I wasn't ready for it. So I had to regroup, figure it out. I didn't want to trash the camper, and it went way beyond our scope originally. This is part of the sidewall, and the reason that we did what we did. When these things are built, the walls are glued on with water-based contact cement. The sides of the trailer, there wasn't a single fastener on the side once you got past the gutters and the roof. The whole thing is glued on. It's pretty easy to see. They build the walls laying flat, they sandwich everything together, they glue it together, They put it up. So this thing was going down the road with the whole driver's side front half of the camper was not attached. It had a couple of screws holding things on. And that's when I realized in this particular camper, there's all kinds of different construction, but in this camper, the aluminum structure is what holds the camper together. The sidewalls are there to weatherproof everything, keep the water out, hold the windows, do all that kind of stuff. So I've caused a lot of controversy. I've had people say that camper is so stiff that when you go down the road, it's going to fly apart. I've had other people cheering me on, which is great. And I get the questions. The ginormous question that everybody has kept asking once I get past this is the sidewall. So I see people asking, I just had an interaction with a guy last night. Hey, I've got a roof leak. I want to know how to patch it. Well, you can't patch it. I mean, you can, but the thing is once water is inside, this is what happens. This is your camper, literally, boom. It's dried out now, but once water is inside, it's not going to leave. In another video, we tore the back wall off right here. The back wall had been off of the camper for 2 weeks, and I was into the sidewall right back here on this corner, and this far away from the back of the sidewall was still covered up, it was still wet, and I was still literally wiping the wood off of the styrofoam inside. So once water is inside a camper, it doesn't go away. It doesn't dry out. This thing hasn't seen water until yesterday. It hadn't seen water in 5 months, and I still had wet spots. So if you want to fix your roof, we're scheduling roof jobs. I'm ready for the next one. If it's been leaking for a long time, we're going to have a conversation about what happens if a wall falls off. You know, I'm glad this happened to ours. I told my wife, I told Noah quite a few weeks ago, you know, if we had started this with a customer's camper, can you imagine the stress that I would have been under, let alone the stress that this caused? But anyway, I'm going to stop talking. I'm giving Noah the cue here. I scaled it before. I scaled it yesterday. When I scaled it before, I did have a basic aluminum toolbox on the back. That's not there, obviously. And I had a generator back here. That's not here, obviously. I've got a little scale over here. It was like 85 pounds for the combination of that. So call it 100 pounds. When I scaled it before, I had 3/4 of a tank of fuel. I'm running a diesel. So yesterday I had a half a tank of diesel. So there's, I don't know, 100, call it 100 pounds there. What I did, the big change in this is all of my tanks were empty when I scaled it the last time. Fresh water was empty, black water tank, both gray tanks were empty and the black tank was empty. We went camping. I'm gonna say we used roughly 30 gallons of water. I dumped the remaining fresh water, but it was raining yesterday and I didn't feel like jacking with it. And I've got a dump station here at the shop. The truck stops down the road, so I didn't come to the shop. So anyway, I've got roughly 30 gallons of black and gray water in the tanks right now, and I scaled it. So all things being equal, I think it's pretty close. I do have closet doors that I need to put in. Those are glass. They weigh, I don't know, 25, 30 pounds a piece. I've got a little bit of interior wall construction left to do. That's probably going to be 40, 50 pounds. Again, if you take the water that I do have that I didn't before, take the diesel that I didn't have that I did before, you smash it all together, it's pretty doggone close. I did full disclosure because this is going to probably start a buzz, but here's my before weight. It was 19,000 pounds even. You got that, Noah? Mm-hmm. So I was 4940 on the front axle, 5700 on the rear axle of the truck, and then 8360 on the tandem axles of the trailer. 19,000 total. Here it is, folks. This is what I weighed yesterday. You got it? Mm-hmm. Still 4940 on the front. Cummins didn't lose any weight. The drive axle went down 300 pounds. That's really interesting to me because the gray and black tanks are up front, so the drive axle, I should have picked up weight, but I lost weight. And then the rear weight was 83.60, and yesterday it was 81.60. There's a little bit of weight difference there, and I'm sure that's the generator in the box hanging off back here. But anyway, I'm 500 pounds lighter. I'm gonna just take a minute. I'm not gonna say I told you so, but I thought it would be. It was a guess. Noah said, that's exactly what you were guessing this morning. It's been a guess the whole time. What I knew is I wanted to seal up a roof completely. I didn't want to jack with it ever again. I didn't want an air conditioner that ran us out of there because of the noise. I knew I wanted a mini split because I know how to install them. I knew I needed pipe vents out the roof. I saw absolutely no reason to have vents out the roof. We could have vents. If you want vents in your trailer, that's no big deal. If you don't want a mini split, we can talk about it. We can install the rooftop back. That's no big deal. There's another roofing company out there that builds curves, and he does great work. I've seen his work, and it's phenomenal. And kudos to the expertise that you've got to lay down a TPO roof. It's awesome stuff. Honestly, one of these days, I hope he and I can sit down. I'm talking to you, Joe, but I hope you and I can just sit down and talk about it, because the craftsmanship's there, but the TPO, I go through trees. I'm in the woods all the time. One of these days, I'm sure I'm going to go onto federal land, and I'm going to be sitting out in the middle of nowhere in Colorado or Arizona, and it's going to be 9,000 degrees, and this mini split's going to be working its butt off, and I'm not going to have a tree in sight, and I won't care about TPO versus aliphatic. But 95% of the time, we do. This winter, if we get to do what I want to do, I've got a ton of plans for the belly of this thing. We're going to seal that up. We're going to insulate it. I want to be able to go to northern Michigan and spend the week between Christmas and New Year's in the snow. I love the snow. I like the cold. I don't like the hot. And I want to be sitting in my chair, drinking a beer between Christmas and New Year's and see the snow and not freeze this thing out. This is a heat pump, by the way, so there is a point. But anyway, I'm 500 pounds lighter, folks. Where we go from here, I've still got a ton of interior work. I'm going to start posting some videos on how to do that. I am not going to show you how I built the roof. That's us. And it's not that I'm trying to keep any kind of big trade secrets, but I don't think it's a DIY thing if you're good enough that you can build the roof and you want to have a conversation with me, I will tell you how I did it. I will leave it to you. And then once it's built and you're ready to bring it to me, bring it to me and I can spray the top of it. If the only thing we have to do is spray the top, it's expensive in the grand scheme of things, but the labor to do the roof, the walls, the wiring that we changed and all that kind of stuff, that's where it starts getting excessive. I've had tons and tons of people ask me, would I do it again? Absolutely. If somebody brings me this camper and we did everything that we did to this, I'm somewhere at $35,000 range. Excuse me. That includes the mini split. I would put a mini split in. I would redo the exterior. I would redo where we're at in the interior, not change anything drastically, just put the cabinets back, remove and reset. And then you're into a camper that's never going to leak, doesn't take any maintenance on the roof. I'm still working on some window systems. I'm not happy with the factory results of the windows in the least. I'll get into that later. Again, this has been a prototype. This is our rig. If I'm going to build something that I've never done before, I'm going to do it on my own first. If I make a mistake, it's on me. If I make a mistake in the shop and it's on a customer's vehicle, now I got to fix it. And we're always going to fix it. So anyway, but let me get back to it. I'm going to wrap this thing up and get onto the walls and stuff like that. But I'm 500 pounds lighter. I've got a mini split. I can run full AC. I can run the entire trailer on a 20 amp wall outlet. The roof's never going to leak again. and it's easier to drive down the road. It flexes. I saw it flex. I was watching that. I got yelled at a couple of times because I was watching the walls. The thing that it doesn't do is it doesn't wave down the road. When it's flexing, you can see the trailer move. It's gonna move. It's a trailer. It's huge. Gosh, it weighs 10,000 pounds or something. So there is movement to it. But the way I put it together, it can move in spots it's supposed to, like the factory was talking about doing. But it doesn't have all of this crazy movement that I promise you the factory did not design it to well, maybe they did. Maybe the factory designed it to fly apart. But this one's not gonna. So I'm gonna wrap this thing up. I'm rambling at this point. I'm still tired. I'm 500 pounds lighter. I've got a maintenance-free roof that's never gonna leak. I've got a mini split that I can set in 100-degree heat with full air conditioning, and everything's good. If you've got questions, send them in the comments. If you're looking for a roof to be done, shoot us a message on Facebook. You can put a comment on our YouTube channel. Start following that. We want to build our YouTube channel up. Follow us. Throw out suggestions. If I've got a lot of ideas here, and I'm here to try to change things as best I could, or as best I can. We're not giving up by any stretch, but that's what I've got. Looking forward to doing some more. I'm going to jump into a video on the inside and how I'm doing some of that construction. But for now, I'm going to shut up and get back to work, and I appreciate you watching. Have a good day, guys.